And now I'm proud to introduce our leader and visionary, Karen Scharff. Karen has been a leading in citizen action of New York for 31 years. And this organization would not be what it is without her. She's tireless and steadfast in the important work that this organization does. Karen brings strategy that has led to many issues and election victories. I won't even try to name them all. Well, we need to stay on time. And through it all, she always acts like the calm teacher, keeping it all moving. I'm honored to introduce to you Karen Scharff, Executive Director of Citizen Action of New York.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks very much, and thanks, Luis, and thank you, Yvette. Don't we have a great president? Cheer for Yvette. Good morning, and welcome to Justice Works. I'm really glad to be with all of you here today. Before I start, I just want to give a shout out to the Citizen Action and Public Policy and Education Fund staff and leaders who brought us all here and put this all together. A big cheer for the staff and leaders. Thank all of you for making this weekend possible. We're here this weekend to focus on our organizing work to win justice here in New York State. But I don't think we can start that discussion without first pausing for a moment to acknowledge what's happening in the rest of the world. As violence and war are spreading in many parts of the world, and especially in light of the devastation in Gaza, I do want us to pause for a moment of silence in memory of those who have lost their lives to war and violence, especially in the past few weeks. Thank you. With all the turmoil and bloodshed in so many parts of the world, I'm thankful for us to be able to have these 2 days together to retreat a little bit from the news and to focus in on what we can do together here in New York to bring justice to our own communities. While we're very fortunate, as we think about what's happening elsewhere, to be able to do our work here in a country where we aren't risking our lives and where we can work safely, we do unfortunately still face some real serious barriers to justice, and that's what I want to talk about today. The wealthy and the well-connected have succeeded in controlling the dominant narrative within which all of our issues are framed, whether it's raising wages or organizing fast food workers or public education or immigration reform. Our voices are getting drowned out by wealthy CEO campaign contributors whose money more and more determines not only the outcomes of our elections, but also the policy decisions that are made every day by our government. The wide and growing economic inequality in our state and in our country is no accident. The influence of big money has shaped policies that led to deregulation, union busting, lower wages, destruction of our environment, and decision after decision that has decreased the power of working people and led to our economic crisis and the increase in wealth for the 1% at the expense of the 99%. And I know it can be difficult at times for all of us in face of all that money and power to think that we can make a difference. But I think that Nelson Mandela, who was a true realist, summed it up very astutely. Mandela said, "I have walked that long road to freedom. I have tried not to falter. I have made missteps along the way. But I have discovered the secret that after climbing a great hill, one only finds that there are many more hills to climb," which is so true. And he went on to say, "I've taken a moment here to rest, to steal a view of the glorious vista that surrounds me, to look back on the distance I have come. But I can only rest for a moment, for with freedom come responsibilities. And I dare not linger, for my long walk is not ended." Being here with all of you, I feel the strength and power of all of us gathered together as part of the larger movement, determined to make that walk together on the long road to justice. And that's the goal of this weekend. The Justice Works Conference was created by Charlie Albanetti, our communications director. Charlie conceived of this conference 4 years ago to help create a different dynamic for the way our progressive movement works together so we can be walking together on this road and pushing our fight up one hill after another and winning. And we've seen the benefits of that kind of working together as our collaborations strengthen our movement and take us up the next hill. For example, many of you came here to Albany just a few months ago as part of the Collaborating to Win effort around multiple issues in the state budget. And some of you in this room were even arrested that day for nonviolent civil disobedience. And those of you who were here that day remember the incredible energy filling the $1 Million Staircase, well named, and the Hall of Governors. The walls were shaking and the floors were vibrating from the echoes of hundreds of voices and steps, making our collective energy felt all around the Capitol. And even though we didn't win on everything that we wanted, the strength of our unified voices all coming together was enough to stop the worst of the tax breaks to millionaires and billionaires, to secure more funding for our public schools, and most importantly, to start taking back our collective power and begin to change the narrative in the press and in the public. Our chants became headlines, our banners became battle cries, and we began to feel the renewed and growing strength of our movement. It's the strength of all of us standing together that can stand up to that big money, because we are 99%. Did I hear that? The 99%. We are the 99%. We are the 99%. We are, louder, 9%. I don't hear you guys. Are the 99%. We are the 99%. Okay, so we are the 99%, and we have, if we come together, work together, and collaborate in the new ways that we're talking about this weekend, we can defeat the 1%. But right now, so far, much of our agenda has been blocked by the power structure in Albany. The power structure in Albany that represents the 1% instead of all of us. They have created some really big hills for us to climb. And it's sadly no exaggeration to say that our democracy has been hijacked by wealthy corporate campaign contributors. Just want to give you one example. In 2013, a massive grassroots campaign to increase the minimum wage in New York finally led to passage of a small increase. But that passed with no indexing for inflation, so we're already far behind again, with no raise for tipped workers, and only after the legislature agreed to give $65 million a year in tax credits to Walmart and the other low-wage employers to reimburse them for the minimum wage increase. And the money that they committed to those business tax breaks, they did that right at the same time they were telling us that the state could not afford to fund our schools. And then, on top of it, they tried to claim that Walmart's $400,000 in campaign contributions had nothing to do with that decision, nothing to do with it. This fall, we finally have an opportunity to significantly advance justice, increase our power, and change the narrative in New York by transforming our state Senate and then moving our shared progressive agenda aggressively forward. Many of us in this room have been working for many years to win a progressive Democratic state Senate in New York. Citizen Action started on this project, sad to say, in 1984, when we elected Susie Oppenheimer in Westchester. Working Families Party has been after that goal since we formed WFP in 1998, and many of you and your organizations have been at it as well. And we've had some steps forward and some steps back, but we're really at a unique moment in time right now where we have an opening to finally create a solid Democratic working families majority in the state Senate, and then to keep strengthening it each successive election for the future. And then our ability to win on progressive issues, to have a state government that works for the 99%, that all rests on us winning this Democratic WF majority. We're going to have to all work together to make sure that happens. We've got a huge opportunity, but it's all going to be, every single one of these races is difficult. Our chance in this election to win that kind of a game-changing victory for progress is not something we can take lightly. It isn't like any other opportunity we've had in recent history, because for the first time there is broad unity among labor unions, community groups, and political leaders that it's time for this kind of a transformation of our Senate. If we all work together, what we can do this year is elect a state Senate that will not only pass many of our issues, but that is also prepared to change the rules of the game so all of us are not drowned out by big money. The Senate Democrats, and we're going to hear tonight from Democratic leader Senator Andrea Stewart-Cousins, the Senate Democrats are committed to changing the rules and fixing our broken democracy by passing fair elections. Yes. By limiting the amount of money that corporations and wealthy individuals can give to candidates, by enacting transparency and enforcing the laws, and most importantly, by empowering small donors at the state level the same way we have in New York City and in Connecticut. In New York City, and I know many of you know this, in New York City, thanks to public financing of elections and a small donor matching fund, the government actually does work for the 99%, not the 1%. In the last 10 years, the progressive movement and progressive electeds have passed housing reforms, paid sick days, elected a progressive city council, one of whom is going to join us on our panel in a few minutes, where almost 24 city council members are aligned with an actual progressive caucus, and elected a new progressive mayor who ran on a platform of full-day universal pre-K and fighting income inequality. And that was despite being outspent by wealthy real estate developers and hedge fund CEOs. We did it because New York City has a small donor matching fund that gives everyday people all across the city the power to have a meaningful impact on the political system, so that politicians owe their favors not to the Wall Street executives, but to the people who wash our cars, serve our food, and teach our children. We've seen that with fair elections, justice does work. So now we need to do the same in Albany. We need to make our state legislature work for all of us. We need to pass fair elections and limit the influence of all this big money so we can make it easier to win on things like minimum wage, women's equality, fair funding for our schools, and all of the other issues where we fight for justice day in and day out. The first step is taking back the state Senate, coming together to elect progressive candidates who will champion our causes, pass a fair election small donor matching system, and elect a progressive majority leader of the state Senate. But it doesn't stop there. Once we win, and we're going to win, once we win, we've got to stay together and hold their feet to the fire, because even our champions need to feel that grassroots pressure. We all know yes. I want to be super clear that as much as I'm saying this is our crucial opportunity, we've got to win these elections, that really is only step one. Because once people are in office, all kinds of pressures come to bear, and we are going to have to keep the pressure up on every single one of the issues that we've been promised to make sure we win in 2015 and on the next set of issues in 2016. And in addition to having to put pressure even on our own champions, of course, we also know there's going to be senators who are looking to undermine a progressive agenda, as well as others, and we're going to have to fight back against that. Together we can win the state Senate, we can pass fair elections, we can make a New York State that works for all of us, for the teachers, the parents, the nurses, the students, women and children, dreamers, janitors, fast food workers. We can raise wages, pass immigration reforms, and make sure that every child in New York finally does receive a sound basic education. But it's going to take all of us standing together, fighting together, and coming together in a strategic way as the 99% to fight back against the wealthy few so they can't continue to corrupt our system with their greed and their selfishness. Together we can limit the influence of the 1% and limit their ability to buy off our elected officials, and most importantly, we can limit their power to determine the way that we think and talk about these issues. And our election campaigns this year are going to really focus heavily on the message of all of us and the importance of having elected officials who represent all of us and not the 1%. Together we can build power for the poor and working class, for everyday people, for the 99%. Together we can make justice work. Nelson Mandela also said, "A winner is a dreamer who never gives up." A winner is a dreamer who never gives up. So are you all ready to be winners? Yeah? All right. Because this weekend is our preparation for that. This weekend you're going to be part of a serious conversation about what it means to be an activist in New York State right now, and what it's going to take for all of us dreamers to become winners this year. Each one of you is a key leader, bringing people on board to our collective cause to win justice in our communities. Every one of you has a very important role to play, and I hope the workshops this weekend help you gain a deeper understanding of what a powerful role that is, and how important it is that every single one of you is a leader in our movement. This weekend we're also going to face some incredibly challenging topics. This morning, on our first panel, we're going to talk about poverty, and also about how poverty is perpetuated by racism. We're going to hear from leaders in our cities about what they're doing, and then they're going to hear from you about what else they should be doing, because this isn't a one-way street. It's on all of us to actively make our communities stronger and to fight inequality and poverty. And then later today, Dr. Imani Perry, our keynote, is going to challenge us with a conversation about how we go about all working together, how race and gender and every other dividing line can keep us apart. I've been at this for over 30 years, and I've definitely seen these challenges destroy our work over and over again. They aren't easy. But it's time for us to talk about them, fight these challenges, and make sure they aren't going to be a barrier to us at this moment when our movement has the opportunity to build and grow. I'm so glad that each of you is going to be here and be part of this weekend, because you're going to get new skills, you'll offer your knowledge to others, you're going to take part in something truly special, you're going to be at the forefront of New York's growing, strengthening, progressive movement. Today we're focusing on understanding the challenges we have ahead of us, and then tonight and tomorrow we'll talk about our opportunities to overcome those challenges and make a New York and an America that works for all of us. And then when you leave here, of course, you've got to be sure to join the fights ahead. Please join us in the fight to take back our democracy, join us to win Senate and congressional races in 2014, and then join us in passing fair elections and our shared progressive agenda. Thank you.